You ever hear a heavy thud on your roof and you tell yourself it's just a fat raccoon? Or see a flash of orange in the woods and assume it's just a campfire? You humans have a funny way of ignoring things that don't fit into your little civilized world. Welcome back to the Brothers of the Unknown. Tonight, we're talking about the big ones. The ones with scales, the fire, and the hoarding issues. What were they, really? And more importantly, what if they never actually left? Personally, I hope they stay in the caves. A creature that breathes fire is a massive liability when you live in a house made of dry lumber. Your hosts for this fiery deep dive are Mr. B and Mr. K. One of them is currently trying to dragon-proof the studio with a garden hose, and the other is convinced he found a fossilized egg in a garden center clearance bin. Gentlemen, try not to get scorched. I don't like the smell of burning hair.
Thanks, Boogie. Yeah, we'll definitely try not to get scorched. I like my beard where it is. How are you doing, Mr. B?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good. As Boogie alluded to, I would like to talk about dragons today. What comes to mind when you think of dragons? Other than, the main things of big lizard breathing fire, maybe some other dragonistic aspects that aren't the popular ones.
I don't know. I guess like bearded dragons and
the little lizards.
Yeah, or even the Komodo dragons. The
Komodos. Yeah, yeah, the things that's got enough bacteria in its mouth it might as well have its own venom.
Right, exactly. Because just taking a chunk out of you isn't enough. It's got to slowly kill you.
That's a very toxic bite from a dragon, I guess. Some dragons. Well, there are depictions of them not just be fire breathing. There's acid spitting dragons. There's water dragons. Snake dragons. More of your behemoths. That are dragon scale or dragon sized, but don't have the regular things that are dragons known to have, like wings or something like that. They're more landlocked and can't fly.
I'm pretty sure you're probably going to go over a lot of this.
Most definitely. I got the Chinese snake dragon to cover and a few other things. And I'd like to point out, some of my dragon fans out there, that every time they see a dragon on TV and, especially when they're watching The Hobbit and Smog comes out to play and everybody's like, that's not a dragon, that's a wyvern. Well, you're not wrong, but it's still a classification of a dragon.
See, and this is the thing. I have no idea.
Oh, you're not a fire breathing lizard person. Even dragons give 682 a run for his money.
No, but I'm pretty sure you're going to go over a lot of all this this lingo terminology pretty in depth. I know you're pretty good at that. So I'm assuming this is probably not going to be a single episode, maybe part 2, 3.
Definitely not going to be a single episode.
Okay.
There's a lot to cover in a short amount of time, and I would like to take my time with this one. Like, there's multitudes. If my fans out there, you like your dragons and you definitely want me to cover something a little more in depth, please, give me a shout out of the type of dragon you want me to talk about. if I touch on it in this episode or plan for the future, it gives me a little more to go off of.
Heck yeah.
So I guess give me something, Mr. B. Start me out somewhere. You got a question for me, or concerns, different types? We want to talk about styles, shapes, size.
Let's go of the dragons of old.
Dragons of old.
The dragons of old.
Are we talking about like our medieval dragons? Are we talking about like your ancient Chinese dragons? Some of the lore?
I'm talking about
give me a little more.
I'm talking about what is one of the oldest ones that you know of that you can talk about?
The T-Rex.
So is the T-Rex considered a dragon, or?
It's definitely a spreading theory, and I like to dabble with the idea, especially if you got a lizard that size, and maybe it can fly, maybe it can't fly, maybe it is a wingless behemoth type. It's hard to say if a T-Rex could or couldn't breathe fire. All we have to look at is bones. So
True.
And the other thing that you could say is, they don't have hollow bones like some birds do, but they do say that the dinosaurs evolved into birds. The T-Rex is closely related to the chicken. So,
yeah.
And chickens have wings, little stubby things, and it makes you wonder, maybe they were lightweight. Maybe their wings weren't made out of hollow bones. Maybe their wings were cartilage like sharks. So when they died and passed away, their wings dissolved to the point where you couldn't tell they ever had wings. They get the little T-Rex arms, but you don't realize that they had like a 30-foot wingspan or something, and these things were actually something else to deal with.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that would be kind of an interesting ideal to think of, is T-Rex not only being the most feared, at least to like maybe
King Lizard.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What would make King Lizard more epic? He could breathe fire.
And fly.
The T-Rex was a wyvern, it just had wings for arms and then the two legs that it stands on or whatever.
Okay.
It could be something like that.
So I guess that could be a really good starting point right there. What is the characteristics of what everyone kind of thinks of as a dragon,
Well, the most common term for like your European or American style dragon is 4 limbs, usually 2 hind legs and 2 forelegs, or arm-like legs. Maybe they have more fingeristic front claws and stuff like that. And usually 4 limbs, 2 wings, a tail, head, body, breathes fire, can fly, usually a large lizard in some aspect. Definitely has got the scales. That's your most common type of dragon. And then you have the other variations like drakes and behemoths, and there's even fey dragons, if you believe it.
Fairy dragons.
Fairy dragons, yeah. They're usually a little more on the smaller scale. They're usually, your fey limits. They're probably smaller than 3 foot tall, maybe the size of a cat or a small dog, and they don't have much prowess as in size and power, but they do have like magical elements to them.
So, I mean, obviously you're throwing out the terminology like wyvern and stuff like that. Is there a specific name towards those classic American, English, European style dragon that has the 4 limbs and a tail, wings, and so on and so forth?
Just kind of like how it's put together, what it's depicted as. If you're saying a dinosaur is a lizard. You're saying a gecko is a lizard. You're saying what else? You got crocodiles, dinosaurs. If these are all categorized as lizards, then dragons essentially have its own category, usually depicted as breathing fire and being able to fly. But if we lean into like your water dragons, they still have a fire aspect. Some are known to fly or be more like a flying fish. They can leap out of the water and glide or something along those aspects. And instead of shooting like fire, they have like an internal heat or something. I don't know if you want to consider it magic or how their biometrics work or whatever. And they can usually shoot like boiling water,
Oh, I don't know which one would be more of a way to go. Fire or boiling water.
Bad day to be a Viking.
You're right. I mean, like, I can just picture it in my mind. You're this knight in shining armor, and you're thinking, I'm going to go save the princess. Just so happens to be a Chinese princess. And and here you're used to, fighting fire and stuff like that. But then you just get doused in freaking like boiling hot water.
Yeah. This reminds me of the one time I tried to scale a castle wall and they dumped hot tar on me. I prefer the tar.
Oh boy, yeah, because I can only imagine how that would work out. I mean, like fire, at least your metal plating can help deflect the heat and then
those of you who have ever spilled a hot cup of coffee in your lap, it's probably worse than that.
Probably. Considering coffee isn't boiling.
Unless you go to McDonald's.
I guess that's true.
They have a little drag in the back. They don't tell anybody. It's a well-kept secret. That's like the Flintstones. You open the little cupboard under the coffee maker, and there's just a little dragon shooting up a flame, boiling the coffee beans.
That's funny.
So if you ever wonder why your McDonald's coffee is scorching, it's cooked.
So I guess let's go into more of a like the different styles of dragons and what they can be considered as, because I'm assuming there's different combinations of body styles. Like you brought up the whole 2 legs body, wing that has wings that have fingers or claws or whatever on the wings is one type, and then so on and so forth. Is there any other distinctive dragons, the characteristics and what they look like, compared to what?
Well, Dragonheart, I guess would be a good reference if anybody's seen those movies. That would be more of your typical dragon. And I guess, like I've said before, to compare like The Hobbit and when Smog comes out, he's definitely dragon, and in more of a very, very large scale, probably bigger than normal rumors of dragons would be depicted, because there's no evidence of anything being that big. But the fact that it has more, like its front wings are more its arms than having arms and wings, and it's more like a bat in a sense. Those are your wyverns.
Okay. Now
and drakes can be smaller forms of wyverns, or more like your raptor style dragons, your baby dragons, or they're just naturally smaller. They don't get to be like elephant sized or smog sized.
Is there any dragons where they don't have any legs and it's just a tail and wings and head and slender body, or is there
well, there are like the Chinese dragons, Their iconic snake-like form, they have 4 legs, and sometimes they don't have legs at all. Sometimes they just have tiny wings in a portion of their back or body, and the wings are more of an aesthetic effect than actually helps the dragon fly or anything like that. It's more purely magic, and like a snake that can breathe fire and fly, and people are just like, snakes don't normally do that.
like the dragon from Dragon Ball Z, what would that be considered as?
You're talking about Shenron?
Yeah, Shenron.
Yeah, Shenron would be more like your Chinese snake dragon, your mythical wish upon a star kind of thing. I want to bring Vegeta back. Your wish has been granted. What else do you want? A sandwich? You wished me here for a sandwich. I mean, yeah, why not have a cosmic power being make you something so simple? I don't know, makes you feel bigger about yourself. I don't know. What did you do yesterday? I made this almighty genie dragon make me a sandwich. You could have had millions of dollars. You could have had the perfect life, and you wished for a sandwich. It's pretty epic.
That's funny. Outside of the Chinese dragon, English, Western-esque dragons, is there any dragons that you think that people might not know of?
There's more like your poison dragons that like don't shoot fire or shoot boiling water. They shoot like molten acid, kind of like
Starship Troopers. Yep.
You know, where that giant beetle spits out its acid and it just like melts you instantly.
Right.
There's dragons like that.
Okay. Where they originate from, like what lore, what group of people conjured this such nightmare?
Stories just evolve, you know.
Okay.
All of a sudden one day, you know, you got your sheeps are picked clean, you know, and it wasn't a fox or a mongoose or something like that, and you're just like, I had 20 sheep yesterday, somehow I only have 2 today. Something's not right, and I don't know why barn in the back is on fire.
That's funny. So I guess, well, we can't leave out like probably one of the most influential dragon movies, probably the most recent era, the whole How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Right.
Now, are they kind of spot on with some of the depictions of like the Viking and I guess English / Japanese?
Now, that's kind of hard to say. I mean, you could even depict Godzilla as a type of dragon. One type of dragon, I know I keep saying like behemoths, but the real term I was probably looking for was the basilisks. Not like your basilisks from Harry Potter, where it's just this giant venomous snake. But there is some lore from giant snakes turning into dragons, some kind of Chinese lore where 2 entities, like a good snake and a bad snake, and there's this whole ritual that takes place, and every 100 years or every 1,000 years they come out and have this battle for power, and it either, if the bad snake gets involved, it takes over the world and changes things, and it's the end of the world as we know it. And as long as the good dragon keeps winning the battle or whatever, things stay as they are for another 1,000 years or whatever it is. That lore is a little fuzzy for me. I haven't looked into it in a while. So, but back to like the real dragon-esque basilisk are these massive. So talking about How to Train Your Dragon,
Mhm.
that dragon that they fight in the end, that's like living in the mountain, and all the other dragons are feeding it.
Right.
That would be considered a basilisk. Has wings. Sometimes it doesn't have wings. It's just massive. It's just mountain sized. Smog would be maybe even a basilisk, like scale wise.
Mhm.
So I mean, even like I said before with Godzilla, it has plasma breath. It's taller than a building. You know, it doesn't have wings, can't really fly, but it's the giant lizard, atomic lizard. You know.
Right. So the average, I guess, depicted height, length, however you want to measure these creatures, what would be like the average size? Like, is it something that would be towering over a human and that's that, or is it more of like human sized or subhuman sized, like something that would fit in the palm of your hand?
Dragons have been depicted as small enough to be, you know, to fit like a fairy dragon, a fey dragon could be small enough to fit in the palm of your hand.
Right.
And your basilisks, your dragons, your, you know, some of these other big things, like they have even worms. And I'm not talking about like your night crawlers. I'm talking about your massive snakes, you know, that are depicted to be a part of the mythological dragon family just because of its sheer size and power. You know, if you had Titanoboa or whatever it was called, the Titanic boa, something of that form.
Okay.
The Titanoboa. We'll go with that one.
The giant snake.
It's a giant snake. It makes an anaconda look like a full-grown anaconda, like a baby. You know.
Oh, that is a big snake. That's all I got to say about that.
You know, the Titanoboa was depicted to be the size of. You ever watch the movie Anaconda? And they had those giant snakes.
Right.
Actually, I think they just remade Anaconda. The new one came out.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
But that would be your dragon-esque scale of a snake. You know, your worms or, you know, your basilisks and that sort of stuff. So,
heck yeah. How I know this the lore started back ancient times of you know, China and stuff like that, but like,
well,
where
even their different generations, you know, medieval Europe and stuff like that. So,
but like, how did dragons become so ingrained in certain cultures when obviously back then they didn't have the internet, they didn't have this interconnectivity between one, let's just say one, you know, continent to the next, you know, like how
people travel, word of mouth.
Right.
Maybe even having run-ins with things they couldn't explain. You know, the bear caught them off guards in the woods, and they heard a noise and heard something big moving towards them, and they ran away and didn't look back. And I ran away from a dragon. Sure, you did.
But I mean, like, because I mean, there's many more, you know, instances of things that has happened. Let's just, you know, use a certain, you know, countries. Like that happened in Japan a long time ago.
Dragons aren't always painted in a bad light. They can be seen as wisdom. They can be seen as good luck. They can be like a sign of protection. Because like most lores, dragons are known for hoarding gold. Protecting any kind of value and riches, which is mind-boggling. There must be some kind of material or something to make it worth it for a dragon to want that, because they're a dragon. Why would a dragon need money?
Yeah, I have no idea. That is one thing that I've noticed is whenever you see a dragon depicted, it's usually,
or maybe it's a spiteful thing, you know. Humans and dragon have been in this long war, and dragons know that humans are greedy fools and they're mindset. And, every castle they burn down and every town they take over, they hoard all the riches. So other humans just can't come in to this burnt down town and loot it. So the dragon takes everything. Now the dragon has this mentality of they have to come see me to get any of these riches. So maybe it's a trap aspect. Maybe they just like shiny things. Maybe that's part of their niche, Their dragons are like the crab from Moana. Shiny!
I was going to say a raccoon of some sort, maybe.
Yeah. It's not just a giant raccoon on your roof, like Boogie was saying. It's after you gold. Well, I guess I need to look out for dragons because they call me the leprechaun, and I don't need them looking for my pot of gold.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But no, I mean, like the point I was trying to get to is, how does one country that is on the other side of the world have those creatures? Maybe not necessarily depicted in the same way, but in that same vein, I guess. They're lizards. They may fly, they may not fly. They have these abilities to manipulate their body in a way that produces some sort of weaponized material.
Right.
How does one get from that lore, let's just say over in Far East Asia, to just say like in Norway or Scotland, England, so on and so forth, far west Europe?
Well, I have a tinfoil hat wearing theory that maybe dragons still live amongst us.
Okay.
We talk about having lizard people, and
True.
Dragons are very wise, don't die unless they're killed. They live for thousands and thousands of years, and even the ancients and largest of dragons, according to lore or whatever, maybe they do have some powerful magic, because like dragons are usually the king of the food chain when we talk about like magical entities and stuff like that. So who's to say that dragons don't shapeshift and live amongst us and use their magic to transform themselves into a human person? And you would never know. So
I mean, true. Yeah. I mean, if we're
maybe they tell their own stories, and that's how the lore gets spread.
Hey,
I once saw a dragon 1,300 years ago. And wait, 1,300 years ago? How were you alive back then? Shit.
I heard about.
I heard an interesting story. Funny how you heard that story, but I've never heard any of that kind of stuff.
Right. I mean, obviously, word of mouth can definitely be the most obvious answer to that question, but still, even then, I mean, it seems like they're different enough to be differentiated from, an Asian descent of dragon, I guess, compared to more of a Western European type of dragon,
Right.
So is there a combination, in between? I mean, it seems like,
I mean, people have speculated on like the realism of a dragon, how big it would have gotten, what it would be capable of, how some people even went into like how the biology of a dragon would work. Saying like their bones wouldn't be hollow, so they would have to come up with some other form for flight because their bodies are just naturally too big for flight. So the same sac that helps produce their flame is the same sac that fills up with a gas that, like a helium, like they have an internal chemical machine, basically how their organs work, and whatever they eat and digest, it produces a gas that makes them lighter. And some have speculated on the fact that they used to eat rocks and kind of like dinosaurs or birds. They'd swallow pebbles to help them digest or something like that.
Right.
But maybe they're privy to the mineral in the mountains or whatever, and flint and stuff get stuck in their teeth, so they have to click their teeth to start the flame, and then they expel the gas from their gas sac, and that's what is like their defensive, like, oh, a T-Rex is about to gobble me up because it's 2 times bigger than I am, and I just ate a full meal. I'm gonna spit a fireball at this thing and hopefully it runs away, thinking twice. So
right,
like a defense mechanism of sorts, you know. You got skunks that spray nasty stinky stuff, you got bugs that spray burning acid. It wouldn't be too far-fetched for an alligator popping out of a river and casting fireball at you. So
I don't know. Being from Florida, that'd be even more horrific if that's the case,
right? I'm tired of these woods burning all the dang time. We need to go take care of that lizard so our forests can grow back.
That's funny. I know we're very big on cryptids and the anomalous-esque, portion of, I guess, maybe not necessarily the supernatural in that aspect, but also kind of like having our finger on the pulse when it comes to the, I guess, cryptid, SCP kind of imaginative storytelling situations. Is there any reference to like an American or a North America, South American dragon?
I mean, there are some that say they found fossils in Alaska or something like that.
Right. But nothing.
But usually they derived from European.
Okay.
There's not too many like Native American stories of dragons that I know of. Maybe more your basilisks or that sort of stuff, but no, more European, Chinese, Japanese. I don't even know about like Russia has anything. So any of my Russian fans that are people from different areas or anything like that have something to share, please drop it in for me. I would be interesting to know about. Like, I'm not sure like where the American style comes in. I would assume that a creature that big that could fly and go wherever it wanted to, but then again, where would they hide out? We have a lot of flatness in the Middle East, or not the Middle East, but the Midwest.
I know what you meant. I'm pretty sure other people did too.
Yeah, they're ready in the comments. You screwed up. I'm gonna tell them you screwed up. But no, usually the dragons kind of came over and kind of died off. I feel like if dragons were around, they were wiped out in the medieval times, and if they did travel, they found themselves living in the Himalayas, and then they migrate to Europe or wherever to forage for food or something. They get found, and but I wouldn't be too surprised that they would be around today, living in the mountains, and they just go out and snatch up a bear every now and again or something. So
that's a hell of a dinner, that's for sure. If you're making a bear being your meal of choice. Wow.
I'm gonna have grizzly bear for dinner, cooked with a slight broil.
That's funny. Well, I guess I know we could probably go on and on and on and on about it, in which we'll probably have, multiple episodes.
We will most likely go on and on about this. I probably will plan a more linear episode, or if our fans have anything to add to it, I will definitely cover it. Dragons are kind of a fun topic and a favorite of mine. So
heck yeah. Well, I guess with that said, don't be afraid to go and like and subscribe to this channel. We do talk more about other paranormal
random stuff.
Random stuff.
All the unknown. We're the brothers of the unknown.
Exactly.
We talk about the unknown. Dragons are unknown, just like a lot of other things.
Exactly.
It might not be cryptids. It might not be spooky, supernatural stuff. It might just be a common conspiracy story. So please leave a like and a share, and definitely let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you're watching us here on YouTube, and we do have a Facebook fan page, so please go over there and share those thoughts with us over there. I guess with that said, go ahead and lead us out.
Thanks, Mr. B. I'm Mr. K, and don't forget to stay weird.
Well, they made it through without catching fire. Luck of the draw, I suppose. Whether dragons are ancient history or just hiding in plain sight, I'm just glad that none of them are trying to squeeze under your bed. There's barely enough room for me and your pile of half-read magazines as it is. I'm retreating back to the space behind the chimney. It's the only place in this house that's warm enough for my liking, though it does get a bit soot-heavy this time of year. Plus, if something does start breathing fire in the neighborhood, I'll be the first to know. As you drift off tonight, listen to the wind outside. If it sounds a little too much like heavy wing beats, or if the air smells faintly of sulfur, don't go checking the windows. Just stay under your covers. Scales are hard to hide, but they're even harder to get rid of once they're on your lawn. I've been Boogie, and this has been the Brothers of the Unknown. Sleep tight and try not to dream of gold. It attracts all the wrong kinds of company.